Hi, my name is Terry Westwell and welcome back to Panic at the Book Club. This week we'll be discussing A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you'd like to take part in this online book club, you can find out more information on how via the channel's intro video. We list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. We also accept your book feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send in a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you could just send me a direct message on Instagram. Born shrouded in the veil of the primals, a maiden, as the fates promised, Serafina Morel's future has never been hers. Chosen before her birth to uphold a desperate deal her ancestor made in order to save his people, Sarah must leave behind her life and offer herself to the primal of death as his consort. However, Sarah's real destiny is the most closely guarded secret in all of Lysania. Instead of a protected maiden, she's an assassin with one mission and one target. Make the primal of death fall in love, become his weakness, and end him. If she fails, she dooms the whole kingdom to a slow demise at the hands of the rot. Sarah has always known what she is: the chosen, the consort, a weapon, an assassin, a monster. That is until him. The primal of death's unexpected words, his deeds, chased away the darkness that was gathering inside her. His seductive touch ignites a passion she's never allowed herself to feel, and cannot feel for him. But Sarah has never had a choice. Her life is forfeit, and it always has been, forever touched by life and death. Just your friendly spoiler alert that if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going doing that first, because beyond this point there will probably be spoilers. The chapters were definitely on the lengthy side. In fact, the whole damn book was chunky, but it really didn't matter because I devoured it. I would have preferred shorter chapters, but at the same time, the long chapters did make sense. It was a slow burn, and unlike a lot of slower paced books, it still managed to retain my attention. So much so, in fact, that I did immediately then jump onto the next book, because by the end of this very long book, they still hadn't reached an end to anything. In fact, like in true fantasy style, Shadow in the Ember was definitely more like a setup for the series. It was a lot of world building and character building, so I'm definitely looking forward to what happens next. If I had to compare this book to any of the series, it probably would be ACOTAR. Although the books are very different, they do also have a lot of similarities. It's this Beauty and the Beast trope where a maiden gets pulled into this new world because of a deal or a curse or whatever, and I'm probably going to upset a lot of people with this comment just because of how popular ACOTAR is, but between the two books, I think I enjoyed A Shadow in the Ember a lot more. I definitely felt like this book had some of its own unique spins on this concept, and although I wasn't totally surprised by the ending, I didn't see every element coming. And it was definitely an ending that had me grabbing for the next book in the series. I'm looking forward to finding out what happens to the characters, to Lysania, as well as the Shadow Realm, and finding out what they're going to do with this power and where their more romantic part of the relationship leads. I mean, Ash, Nyktos, whatever you want to call him, seemed really hot and cold at times, but in general he seemed really nice and thoughtful. Like, there were definitely moments where I was like, girl, you cannot kill this guy. But then there were also moments where I thought, fuck him, you don't need that guy. I mean, I can't blame the guy for being a little pissed. I mean, Sarah did plan on killing him, but at the same time, they'd already established that Sarah didn't really have any choice. In fact, her whole life, including the end of this book, her life has never actually been hers. And I don't think she ever actually let anybody in enough to understand the extent of that. I mean, even with this spark of life that she has, she's now useful to Nyctos and the others in a way that isn't exactly going to give her any more control over her life. I am interested as to how it's going to affect their relationship later down the line. I mean, despite everything that's happened so far, including Sarah's denials, they are quite clearly into each other. I mean, she just wants friendship. Yeah, sure. Girl, who are you trying to convince? She's just as clueless now as she was in the beginning of the book when she thought Ash was just a god. Which was one of those things that had me screaming down the book to the protagonist, because it just, I mean, to us, the reader, it was pretty obvious that Ash was the primal of death, right? Right from the beginning, I loved the sense of humour and the banter that these characters had with each other. There were moments that actually had me laughing out loud. For example, that scene with the brother. I mean, he had my blood boiling. That guy was an asshole. But she told him where that whip was going to go. Well, I was not expecting that. The character's response to the scene in front of them it really made me giggle. There was one thing that I did not like about this book, and it kept coming up. And every time it did, it would both amuse me and really wind me up at the same time. But the kingdom's name, Lasagna? All I can hear is lasagna. And maybe there was a reason for it, but for me, it just seemed like an unfortunate name that gave me a craving for high-carb foods. So as for the question, would I recommend the book? Absolutely. There was spice, exciting fantasy adventure, and dragons, which, let's be honest, sound cool as fuck. Everything about this book, the characters, the plot, was exciting and tense as hell. But just a little warning, if you are going to read this book, then get the next one as well, because you're going to need it. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Next week we're discussing The Doll's House by MJ Arlidge, so don't forget to get your comments and thoughts in by Monday the 12th of February at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok or Instagram.